Hello and welcome. We did most of our HTML in the last lesson, and it looks like this, but we want it to look like this. So there's quite a bit of CSS to do, quite a bit of styling to do. We also need to do a full reset. We don't want the border that's coming here from the browser. We need to get rid of that. We need to change a few other things, such as the font family, so we can customize all of that in our full reset file, which we'll do first in the SRC. We're going to add an app.css file. And in that app.css, we're going to select everything. You select everything with star. Then you select everything before and everything after. We'd like to get rid of the margin. Change that margin to 0. And the padding, let's change that padding to 0. That should get rid of the problem we were having right then and there. So let's go into our app and import this. Import ./app.css. Make sure you put that in quotations. Now I'm going to start up my server and see if we had the change we want, which was to take away the margin and the padding. We should see this disappear, and it did. Great job. Let's keep moving forward. Next, I would like to change the box sizing to inherit, and the overflow X to hidden. That's everything that we're going to do to all of the page, and then we're going to work on the HTML because we are going to be measuring things using rem, and rem works off the font size. So we need to change the font size and make it the percentage 62.5%. The font size is 16 pixels. In order to make the font size 10 pixels, we need 62.5% of the pixels. And then when we use one rem, we know we're using 10 pixels, and our measurements become very simple to make in our own heads. So we are using the font size in HTML as 62.5%. Next, let's work on the body. Box sizing for the body will be border box. And the font family will be sans serif. Now we should be able to see the change in the font size and the font family, and we do. This is much different than it was before. So we've already made a few changes to the page in our full reset, and that worked perfectly. So let's go and have a little more fun in the actual list file. First, go to app.js and import the list file we're about to make, ./list.css. And then let's make it. Save it there. We're going to make a new file in the SRC files, label it list.css. And there it is. We have quite a bit to do in the list.css because we did quite a bit of HTML in this file. So we'll start with the list card, then the list card left, then the list card right. So .list__card .list__card dash left. I'm just going to copy that one and do dash right. And we're ready to get started. On our list card, we can see what we want. On the left side, which takes up half, is going to be the photo, and on the right side, which takes up half, will be all the text content. So we need to divide this into half and half. So let's display as a grid. And let's change the grid template columns. So this is how many columns the grid will have. And we're going to say 1FR, 1FR. This means that take up all the room you can. 1FR is all of the free space that you can get. Since there's two of them, take up half the free space that you can get. So we're splitting it right in half. So let's take a look at what we have now. Save. There we are. Perfect. So we have a half and half here. There's no separation between these cards, and they seem quite large. So let's first adjust the height. The height, let's use 20 rem. 20 rem, remember, will be 200 pixels because we defined that way. And let's also adjust the margin. That'll be the room between the cards. Let's use 3 rem. Wonderful, this is much better now. We see we have the 3 rem between the cards, and we have 20 rem of the entirety of this card. That looks good too. The cards are definitely too long the way they are now, but that's okay. The one thing I'm worried about the most is I can't identify where this ends and this starts, so we're going to work on that, and we're not going to do a outline. We're going to do a box shadow. The box shadow works like this. The first value will be 0. Next, we will make some actual values at 0.7 rem, and we'll do 1.2 rem. This is how long 1.2 rem. This is how long and how blurred the box shadow will be. So in order to actually make a box shadow, we need to give it a color. RGBA 000 means black, and then we'll go 0.2 on the alpha to make the black very see-through. Let's take a look at that. Now we have an outline of this card with a box shadow, and we see it right there. If we made it black, this would be absolutely black, but the alpha lightened this up a little bit and made it a bit more see-through, a little more like a shadow. And we see that on all of them. So our box shadow worked perfectly. Good job. Moving on from there, we're going to change the cursor to a pointer. So now when our cursor is on one of the cards, it changes to a pointer. That gives us some feedback that these might be clickable. Perfect. Let's move from there. The one thing bothering me right now is you see this, and all I see is a tomato. You see this, and all I see is what looks to be the top of a burger sandwich. We don't want to see just that. We want to see more than that. So on the card left, we're going to do a display that resizes. So a display of flex. Now we could see the whole image. It's a bit stretched, but we will handle that soon when we resize these cards. Now on the other side, let's do a display of flex as well, and it will change one thing. Let's take a look right now. They're on top of each other now, French fries, and then the description, and then the price. And this will move them side by side. We don't want that. We don't want these to be side by side, so what we're going to do is change the flex direction. The flex direction will now be column. That should put them back on top of each other. Perfect. Now they're on top of each other again, just like we'd like them to be. I'd like them to be separated from this photo and from the top. I'd like them to have a little more air to breathe. So let's do that now with a margin of 2 rem. That would be 20 pixels. There we are, separated from the photo and separated from the top. We're looking good so far, and we could keep on moving on this one. The only other thing I'd like to do is separate them from each other. French fries should be at the top, crispy salted the description, and $3.99 the price. So top, middle, bottom. And then it'll be centered to the right. So let's just do the top, middle, bottom first, because we could do that in our list card right with one easy command. So we just say justify content space between. And there we are, top, middle, bottom, top, middle, bottom. That worked out exactly how we wanted it to work out. But now we have to work on the individual pieces, the name, the description, and the price. So let's start with the name. Let's actually make all of them here. So list __ card dash right, and then dash dash, and what we're working on, the name. And we'll do that 2 more times for the description and the price with a copy and paste. Description and price. So we'll work on the name first, and this will be the one that we do pretty much the most to. So the name will be a display of flex, and it will align self to center, and it will text align. This is very important, the text align, and I will show you why when we get to description, because we have some long descriptions and not such long names at the moment. But the text align will be important for the look of our cards. And the only other thing I want to do here is I want to change the font as well. This is a bit small, and I'd like it to be bolder. So let's work on the font next. So we'll make the font size 2 rem. And let's make the font weight 800, which is a very bold font weight. There we are. Now we're in the middle, we're centered, and we have a decent font weight. It's sticking out as the title of the card. Looking very, very good so far. Let's move over to the description, which will be a display of flex. And the font size will be a bit smaller. We'll do a font size of 1.6 rem, which is actually the normal font size, 16 pixels. And we will align self to center. All right, keep an eye on the page, keep an eye on the word cheddar, and see where it goes when we resize. It goes to the bottom left, and it doesn't really give us a good centered experience, so we're going to move that to the center by changing text align, center. Now that looks much better to me, and I bet it looks much better to you as well. So text align center is important for our project here. The next thing we need to do is work on the list card right price. So let's get started on that. We'll do a display of flex. And the font size, we will do the same font size as the description, 1.6 rem. Now we want it to be at the right side bottom, so we need to align self to flex end. And that's exactly where we wanted to be. That worked perfectly. Now there's quite a bit more to do on the page. Everything else that we do is going to be responsive. In order to get to the responsive parts, please follow me to the next video. Thank you and good job.